I felt worthless and unloved. I developed, some people found out about this. I would be called names such as a hobo. Never neglect any opportunity given to you. My one chance and my one opportunity was being a waitress. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Yet another video. I can't believe I'm actually making another video. So whenever there's something that means something to me, guys, I will keep it. So I'm a very sentimental person in that sense. And why I'm talking about sentimental, I don't know if you guys had such books growing up, right? Where you would write stuff in the book, you know? You'd write all these nice things in the book. You'd have photos of people, you know? Like I am this sentimental. I was very creative though. Look at this. I think this is the coolest music book I had ever seen, like, honestly speaking. I don't know. At some point I thought maybe I'll write in a magazine. I'd even write facts about people's lives. I mean, being on Jam Alley. That happened. What year was it? 2000 and... It was either 2005 or 2004. Or it was 2004, but it was Ed, because I think I went to Jan Alley for my October, November 2004. And the show was either Ed, like I don't remember the year, I don't want to lie, right? It was either Ed 2005 in Jan, when we just the week before school opened. Yeah, I think that's when it happened. Because after that, every time I had to stand up in front of the school, you'd hear everybody go, Jan Ellie. For real. Hey, guys. I swear to God, I was on Germany and this is the song I sang, Have You Ever? I cringe at the thought of that recording surfacing and me hearing myself. Like, you know, I don't know, such things bring me such fond memories. I feel like this is something I can look back at and speak to my grandkids about one day, you know, and show them what I used to do. No One Else by Joe. I've always been an R&B fanatic though. You see this Beyonce dress? You see this? This is what I wanted for my matric dance. So what happened was, I obviously took this picture to the lady who was supposed to make my matric dance dress. I said, listen, this is the dress for me. I love this dress. I want this dress. And at the time, the body was dumeling, man, when I went for this. When I got there, I got a maternity dress, guys. I got something that I couldn't understand. I got some lace and some satin fabrics that were used. I was like, this ain't never gonna look like the dress I want. Like, it's not happening. Eventually, I had to get something else as a dress, guys. Ooh. That's what I had to settle for. And I think that's why even in my business, I'm very fussy when it comes to people's events. So I'm going to a matric dance, I am getting married, etc. I will like submerge myself into your dress, guys. I will make sure, shame, that the person gets what they need, what they want. I let drama. You know, I've experienced drama when it comes to that. So, and I used to write a whole lot of things. Okay, so reading this, I know exactly what was happening in my life. I had found out of a certain diagnosis that my mother was diagnosed with, and I was going through a difficult time accepting the diagnosis, because for me, I thought my mom's gonna die. I'm gonna be left alone. And considering that I had already lost 2 sisters earlier in life, lost my first sister when I was 8 years old, and then I lost my second sister when I was about to turn 14. That's when my second sister died. So I think in 2004, I was 16. Yeah, I was 16. And finding out that my mother was sick really messed up my world. It really, really messed up my world. And I thought to myself, I'm going to be left alone. I'm going to be left alone. I'm going to have to fend for myself. Like I was just begging. I was begging God to spare her life, begging the universe to listen to me, you know? And it's funny, I read the date on this, and then there's another letter that just fell on the floor, 2 seconds. There's a letter I also found along with this because, like I'm saying, I'm such a hoarder. See, it's got a heart. We had a special way of folding these letters, you know? We had a very, very special way of folding letters that a friend of mine had written to me after I had found out that my mom wasn't well. It says to Zanele Louisa Jele from Grace Pasha. Goes on to say, I know this is very hard on you, but please be strong because your mom needs you more than you'll ever know. And I know you don't understand why she didn't tell you, but I think she didn't want you to know just yet because she loves you too much to see you hurt in this way. So I figured she was going to tell you when she felt secure that you won't panic, but understand. She loves you. You may ask yourself why. Why is this happening to you? Why now? Why not someone else? Why not tomorrow? I may not have the answer to these questions, but God knows why. Whatever happens, happens for a reason. You may not know the reason yet, but you will soon find out. Just be patient and He will answer your calls. I know this is hard to ask, but can you please be strong for your mother and sister? They need you as much as you need them. I want you to know that I am always here and that God loves you no matter what problems you are going through. I love you. Signed, Riabetswe Grace Mpasha. Yeah, no, it was a very difficult period in my life. And you know, when life has never been a bed of roses in any way, you never expect good things to come out of life. I wish right now I could meet that 16-year-old girl who was always depressed, always crying behind closed doors. But in public, this is the face that everybody was seeing. I wish I could see her and tell her how totally different the future would be. I wish I could hug her, you know? Things were very, 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 very difficult during that time. And they didn't get any better. They didn't get any better. It still went on in the future. There's another one I wrote. I wrote this one. This was my planning, apparently. My planning in matric when I was writing a piece. We were meant to write something that's a reality, something that has happened in our lives, something that's happening, you know? And in my introduction, I was like, is there really a God? I asked. If so, why doesn't He answer my prayers? What did I do that was so wrong? Hoping I would find an answer. I had found out my mother was sick. My world came to a standstill. I was heartbroken. I thought she was going to die any day. I had already lost 2 people I loved dearly, my sisters, and now it could be my mother. I felt alone. I was depressed, but I tried my best to stay strong for me and my niece. Just when I was adapting to my mother's health condition, she started gambling and was no longer working. Let's not. Yeah. I hoped this wouldn't happen, but I told you, I'm a crier, which is bad. Criers shouldn't have makeup on. It takes me back emotionally to a time. Okay, so she was no longer working and she couldn't afford to buy us food anymore. So she decided to take my niece away. And she never returned. My mom never came back home because she had too many debts. I was confused and scared, all on my own, with no food or money. I wanted to kill myself. I felt worthless and unloved. I developed anger towards my mom and thought to myself, how could she claim to love me and hurt me so badly? I was still too young to feel this way. Everything was just going wrong. I cried every single day, hoping the pain and emptiness would eventually go away. I kept asking, why me? I was without a place to stay or call home because she hadn't paid rent in 3 months. I was in matric without a single piece of stationery, and I was expected to pass with an exemption. I had no one who cared or no one to turn to. I had no shoulder to cry on. Maybe only God can help me if He is really there. Child. I read this and I look back. But when I look back, I know I'm crying because naturally I'm a person who feels wholeheartedly. But I look back at this and I realize that it took a lot to get here. And we tend to downplay the small achievements that we have made. Like the small steps you take. You might not be where you want to be in life, right? But the little bit that you can do to get yourself to the next level, do it. Like when I look at this little girl and I think how her world was during that time, in the public eye, at school, etc., I put a front, man. I wrote this for my English. My English assignment. Oh my God. Now I'm looking all crazy. Need to stop crying. I need to stop crying. All in the past, girls. All in the past. Okay. So I wrote this for my English assignment that we needed to do because I thought to myself, this is my reality. It is raw. It is honest. It's what's happening in my world right now. And it was a cry for help in a way, you know, because I was in a multiracial school and I was going to school for free because my mom had spoken to the school and let them know what her situation was from the start. And because I was just one of those students, man, who gave it her all, I was a leader in every aspect. I was, at the time of writing this, I was the deputy head girl at school. And, you know, when this came to light in the form of peer assessments, I think that's what they were called, where your peers had to mark, when this came to light and some people found out about this, I would be called names such as a hobo, you know, street kid, those kind of things. People would say that. And it's funny how at that time I had a very hard wall, a hard exterior. And when people said that, I would literally just brush it off. And I always say my favorite line in my head was water off a duck's back. But when you look back and you are a bit older and you realize that those things were really painful, it was a really, really painful time in my life. And people were really mean, you know? And this letter helped me find a place to stay. My teachers read it. They got together, put their heads together. I ended up living in a children's home for my matric year, just so that I could matriculate. You know, the teachers were hoping that this would help me become something better in future. And it definitely did. It definitely did. So my mom was MIA, and a shame. I think as an adult now, I look back and I think about how difficult this must have been for her, not being able to provide for her child the way she intended to, you know? I was angry at the time. I resented her at the time. But a year later, when I started working and started finding myself, it took time, but I forgave and I moved on from this. And I look after her today. I started looking after her the moment I could look after her. So I think what I really want to say with this message here is people tend to look at you now and think they know you and think they know what you've been through. When I walk and appear, people assume I grew up with a silver spoon. It's an assumption. It's your assumption to make, you know, and people never understood how badly we had to struggle to get to where we are. People don't understand that. And this made me stronger. This made me wiser. I grew up too quickly. I grew up way too quickly because of that. But as I was saying, going back to this conversation, so basically what happened with this whole story, right, is when it came to light, the school started looking for a place for me to stay. I firstly stayed at friends' mom's, sure, I can't explain it. A friend of mine's mom's friend. Hope that makes sense. I stayed there, and that's where I happened to meet my now husband. So that's why they say everything that happens in your life happens for a reason. Because, let me be honest and frank, I met my husband in an area where I would have never gone. The normal me, if I lived with my mom, I would have never bumped into him. According to me, right? And this experience, when it took place before the teachers could even, you know, step in to assist, because now it was a peer assessment first. The peers found out about it. And a very good friend of mine, I don't know if I can mention her name, but there's a very good friend of mine. She read it, and then she made her mother read it, and her mom, and made a plan to get a friend of hers to look after me in the meantime. And where I lived there, that's where I met my husband, at the salon. So the friend obviously looked after me just briefly. I think it was like a month, man, a month or two, a month. While she was looking after me, I happened to go to the salon downstairs. Just wanted to wash my hair. So she had given me money to wash my hair. And I met this guy. I'm not even getting into that. That's not the story for today. But that's where I met my husband. Okay. And then obviously the friend was in her own space, and she was temporarily helping her friend in housing me. And it was such an inconvenience for everybody, you know. And I understand it was being done out of love and care for a child that is homeless at this point. But I could feel that I am an inconvenience to people. Then the school tried to find me a children's home. The first children's home they tried to find me, listen, you can say beggars can't be choosers, but me, I was like, I will not live in Sunnyside. I will not. Like something in me was like, if I live in Sunnyside, I can bet my life is over at that time because Sunnyside was already going a different direction. Sunnyside is a certain place in Pretoria, notorious for all the wrong reasons. I was like, I'm not gonna live here. I don't see myself finishing matric if I live here. I refuse. Um, like I can't. Then they found me another children's home, which was a home for abused mothers and children. It was mostly older women with, smaller kids. It was a very uncomfortable space to be in during that time because nobody was my age. So I was very uncomfortable. It was older people. So I lived there again briefly. And one of the teachers there at school, Mrs. Mayring, would literally pass by, pick me up because she lived in the area, pick me up and take me to school. I had all my clothes in a black bag, a black plastic bag. I didn't even have a suitcase. I didn't have a bag. I had a black plastic bag, and that's where all my clothes were. This children's home, this home that that I was living in, we literally had to lock our clothes every day because if somebody steals it, that's your issue, that's your problem. And then eventually the school and one of the teachers found me at what they called a sponsor, I think. And there was this children's home. Again, white people live different lives, guys. There was this children's home for pregnant girls in Pretoria that I was moved to. And I was more comfortable being there because they are my age. And well, they were younger, like 16, 15, 13. And, so with them, I could have conversations with, even though most of them were white. There was one black girl. So I moved there. I lived in a children's home from about April until I finished writing my exams in that particular children's home. From April until I finished writing my exams, my matric exams. That's where I lived with pregnant teenagers, right? And I'm writing my matric in that year. We had shower times. We were told what time we are showering. After a certain time, can't shower. We had eating, like we had a schedule. We had a schedule in this house, and it was not bad. It was really not bad being in that children's home. But this children's home was not for kids without parents. It was for teenagers who are pregnant, and the parents were kind of moving them away. I don't know why, but they went to what we called hospital school. I don't know if hospital school also still exists in Pretoria. So they were attending hospital school, and I was just at a normal school. So there was a tani, a lady, an auntie that used to pick us up at home because she lived there with us. She looked after us. She made us food. She did everything. Then she would drive us to school every morning and drop us off. And that's where I lived during my matric year. And I think during that time, depression was real, guys. I gained so much weight because I would eat bread with nothing. Like but what does bread do for you? I ate. I was always just stuffing my face with something. During that time, I was very depressed. I was in a very dark place. Yeah. And like just looking back and thinking about it now, I realized that the eating was also associated with the not eating. I didn't have food when my mother left me. I was alone. And now it's almost as though I developed a really bad relationship with food that I would overeat. I would overeat just because I needed the food to make me feel some type of way. And during that time, I really had one good friend that checked up on me and called me and made sure I was okay. And that's my now husband. Crazy, crazy. My God. I had other friends obviously at school, the friends that were my age group. Oh my God, I've got something in my eye now. Is it the hair? Is it a lash? I don't know. So yes, I had my friends at school, shame, but you know, people who are the same age as you at the time, because they are not experiencing what you're experiencing, they don't understand what you're going through. And he, obviously being slightly older than me, he's 6 years older than me, so he would understand and he would let me cry and talk and express how I feel. Whereas obviously my friends, you know, hi Jimmy, how are you? It was light. That's how it was. But he pulled me through. He definitely pulled me through during that time. And reality then struck again. So towards the matric dance, that's when my mom kind of started getting in touch with me again. And it was kind of like, how you just appear out of nowhere, you know, and she had started finding herself. But me, I was very upset, honestly speaking. I was an angry girl at the time. I thought to myself, she's selfish, she's this, she's that. In retrospect, I look back now and I'm like, shame, I should have been much kinder to my mom during that time and understand that it is really hard for a parent to do something like that. Like if I had to imagine myself without my kids, whew, I can't. I can't imagine how I could leave my children in that way. I could never leave my children. So when the matric dance came closer, that's when she came into the picture. She tried to help me get a dress. The dress was a disaster. Got a dress through a family friend, went to the matric dance. I looked at the pictures the other day. Hey, let's not talk about that. Then I wrote my matric exams. And when I finished writing my exams, literally I was told, so where are you going to live? Where to from here? Because you're too old to live here. You're 18. And now I had to call my mom to say, yo, now I can't live here anymore. Where are you? Where can I live? And that's when I went to live with her. She was basically working somewhere and as a domestic worker. And when she was working there, I got to live with her there, right? And I tell you, when my matric results came out, when that newspaper came out and I found that I passed with an exemption, what do they call it? Passed with a bachelor's something. It was, we were the first group to have that. I was like, what the heck is a bachelor's? What? You know? So when I passed my matric, the first thing I thought to myself is I need to find a job because there's no university here. I need to find a job. On the 2nd of January, I was at Mug and Bean Centurion looking for a job. That's how crazy it was. I had to find a job on the spot. And I found a job as a waitress. And to think I started as a waitress to see myself where I'm at right now, I literally can tell you now that hard work definitely pays. If you're a hard and dedicated person, hard worker, doesn't matter where you start, but that's just the start. It's not the end. You know, I started out as a waitress, but that's not where it ended. Look at where I am now. Look at what I've done. I even have a business to my name that I'm running. So I think this is just one of those messages to say things can be tough. Things can be hard. There's many other hardships I've endured after that. It's not like I got the job as a waitress and after that it was smooth sailing. There's a lot of difficulties that I've encountered and encountered and encountered. And through all those difficulties, I think I tend to have a very hard exterior and people think I'm an ice queen, right? But I don't let people in easily. I don't, because I've been through a lot emotionally and I protect my space. I protect my peace. I protect my environment. If I lose a friend due to whatever reason, I wish them well. There is no love lost on my side. You know, continue about with your life and I wish you nothing but well. That's me. I love protecting my space and I realize that I've always been this way. I'm not the confrontational type to fight. If I confront you, I confront you to tell you, I know you did this. I don't appreciate it. I'm done. What you do with that information is totally up to you. It'll determine how much you value me as a person. But naturally, I'm just a person who loves peace. I'm a person who loves my space. I do not want to be disturbed, and I do not want to disturb anybody else. That's just how I am as a person. I'm loud. I have a strong personality, and people misinterpret it. I'm just naturally loud. I am that person. When I speak confidently, and I'm not loud as in just unnecessary noise. I'm just saying when I speak, you hear me. When I enter a room, you will see me. I'm friendly. I'm a people person, but at the same time, I'm shy. Like I like my space. I reserve myself to certain people. So some people will say, "Ah, Zen is boring," and some people are like, "Oh my God, you've got the greatest personality." Believe them both, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. You know what I mean? So the certain people that will be in my presence, they will love my space. I will love their energy, and I will enjoy being around them. But the certain people that just won't get me because I'm different. I'm definitely different in my own way. I've been through a lot, and I don't know what else to say, guys. I don't know what else to say, but if I had a message to anybody watching this that is going through a difficult time, uzondlula. This too shall pass. Continue keeping your head up. Cry when you need to cry. Scream when you need to scream. Go for a run. Do something to just clear your mind, but be persistent in working hard. Be persistent in pushing in this life. And I promise you, a few years later, you look back. I know like when you look back at yesterday, things haven't changed. But then when you look back a year or two, things have completely changed. And you're like, but when did things change? You know what I mean? So as hard as it may be right now, you don't know what the future holds. If you work hard at what you love, even what you don't love. I mean, we've all worked as waitresses or call centers and we didn't like it. But if you do it with that work ethic that says, I am committed to this, whatever it is, it's my income, I'm focused on it. I'm going to be the best waitress I can possibly be. I'm going to be the best call center agent I can possibly be. I'm going to learn as much as I can learn. I'm going to take the lessons with me as I move forward. And I'm going to take those lessons and put them into something else. If you are that type of person, I promise you, things turn out for the better. Not now, not immediately, but over time. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to be persistent in pushing and working very hard, and eventually you'll get there. And Nami, I still have other aspirations. I look at people who have degrees, and I hear people, Mina, I'm like, I don't even have a degree. I don't. And sometimes I still look down on myself for not having a degree, but I went to the school of life, baby. I go to the school of life and I learn as I go. I will learn on LinkedIn. I will learn on whatever platform there is to learn. That's me. I will learn. I'll also teach myself things because that's the type of person I am. So never neglect any opportunity given to you. My one chance and my one opportunity was being a waitress. I took that opportunity with both hands and I decided that this is what I've got and I'm going to make this work. This is the 1 rand that I need to turn into something else, and that very waitressing job has led to where I am right now. So I hope you enjoy this video. I know it's a lot. I don't know how you guys are going to take it, but please comment, like, subscribe, and enjoy the video, man. And I'll catch you on the next one.